Hello folks, hope you're doing well. This video is talking about, something I've talked about a few times before. You know, when the Lord talks about there's 3 types of ground that the seed falls upon. Only on one type does it actually bear fruit. Well, the way the church has acted for a long time is it's focusing on the 3 out of 4 that don't bear fruit, but acting as if they are bearing fruit. That's why I say you've got the situation in church, don't mention fruit. Don't challenge people about the fruit that they are producing, because we're focusing on the 3 quarters that don't bear fruit, not on the quarter that is bearing fruit. Now personally for me, my focus would have to be on the 1 in 4 that is bearing fruit. Why? Because I can't do anything to help the others. I can't. That's between them and God. Now, can the 3 quarters that are not going to bear fruit, can they be turned into one of the 1 quarter? Yeah, they can, but that's a job for a spiritual pastor. And again, the people that are pastors of church, they're not spiritual pastors. Just because a Bible college has told you that you are a pastor, it doesn't mean you're a pastor. And this whole idea in church that everybody gets into heaven, well, according to Scripture, that isn't the case. Now, I'm looking at this according to Scripture, not according to my understanding of Father and what Father's talking about now. I'm talking purely from point of view of what the Scripture says. Because John talks about, John 15 I believe it is, talks about the vine, and talks about the branches that do not bear fruit and what happens to those branches. They are discarded of. Now we are the branches, because the Lord said we are the branches. And my point of it is, why did the Lord go into so much detail about 1 in 4 and about the vine and about the fact that we are the branches? He is the vine, we are the branches, the Father is the vine dresser. That's what he said. That's what Yeshua said. Why did he go into so much detail talking about that? Because he's talking about the fact, focus on those who are bearing fruit. Help them to bear more fruit. If you focus your attention on those who aren't bearing fruit, what does the vine dresser do? With the fruit, with the branches that aren't bearing fruit, cuts them, throws them into the fire, discards them. They have no use, gets rid of them. So, as I say, to me, I have no interest in playing around with focusing on those that should have been discarded of. Now, the point of discarding of, okay. What does that mean? Well, it means let God deal with that. Let God deal with all of that. You have to, as church, you have to provide a church which is focused on those who can bear fruit, helping them to bear more and more and more and more and more fruit. Instead, we have a church, as I say, that's focused on the 3 quarters. But if you have a church based on the quarter, then those who are not able to bear fruit, they will leave your church anyway. They'll either leave or they will be turned into good ground. But at the moment, the way church has been doing things, it's turned good ground people into bad ground. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Lord himself said the hired hand doesn't care for the sheep. And I think the evidence with regards to pastors and teachers and all that, they don't really care about the sheep. And they will all argue that they do. But I argue that they don't, based upon the fact that are they teaching the hard lessons that the people in the church need to learn? The answer is no. They shy away from that. They shy away from anything. I've been in churches where they won't speak about the vine and the branches get cut off and thrown into the fire. They won't mention any of that in any way, shape or form. They just won't. They will stop it before it gets to that point in Scripture. And they won't go and talk about that because that can be offensive to people. And when you run a church system where basically your concern is about not offending people, I say Manuel wouldn't talk about other churches, wouldn't talk about politics, wouldn't talk about this, that and the other. Well, with that being the case, your ministry is based upon never offending anyone. But then the problem is you're not going to be speaking about the things that people really need to be speaking about, because they're the things that are going to help them to grow so that they can bear fruit. It's like anyone who deals with roses or any other type of plants. You have to trim them. You have to trim the bad stuff off. The people in church have never been trimmed. They've never been trimmed because of the fact that you have pastors that are protecting them from that. As soon as they start seeing Father with his trimmers coming, oh no, stay away, stay away, stay away. They don't want any of that to touch the people. Well, who's going to be like that? That's the devil. Only the devil is going to want children of God who are supposed to be bearing fruit never to be trimmed, because he knows if they're never trimmed, they can't bear fruit. As I say, it's horrendous. When I go to church and when I see that this is what they say they are offering to God, oh my God. But as I say, you speak to people from church, they always massively overestimate where they are. Why? Because they're being led to believe by the pastor and by the teacher that this level is a good level. That this level is a good level. The fact that the bar has been brought so low it's a trip hazard, they won't be told that. They won't be told just how pathetic an offering it is. You see why they attack people who are doing reasonably well? Cain and Abel. People in church will always attack people that are doing reasonably well. They won't like it. They would always back away from that. Whereas like people in darkness, when light comes into darkness, someone who's been in darkness for a while will back away from that light. They can't come anywhere near it. And Cain was the one who was producing poor offerings. And he attacked his brother because of it, because his brother produced good offerings. And that's what the people in church do all the time. Because their offerings are, as I say, basically, it's like a plate of dog shit. That's what the church is offering right now. When you have a look at what the church is actually offering, look at the worship. Look at the quality of the worship. Look at the quality of the ministry. Basically, the church is... it's like a bad smell in a stuck elevator. It's not part of the solution. It has been always part of the problem. It's an offence to God. People in church do not understand that what they are producing as an offering is an offence to God. God is not blessed by what you offer. You think God is blessed by that? Really? You think God is blessed by that? Have you read the Bible in any way, shape or form? And you think God is blessed by that? Yeah. So thankfully, and this is what blows my mind about what I've been sharing and the fact that people aren't willing to accept it. I say thankfully, God sees you through the blood, But people don't accept that God sees you through the blood. Not really. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It really is. Yeah, but as I say, God is more than capable of dealing with all of that. So, yeah. But at the moment, yeah. Is God impressed with what's being offered? Not in any way, shape or form. It is not good. But focus on those who can bear fruit. Help them to bear more fruit, and hopefully those who aren't of good soil, that some of the good soil will rub off onto them. And they will also be able to bear fruit. That is where we need to change the focus. Because the focus has been on those who can't bear fruit. There you go. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.